Beverly Cleary is an American writer of children and young adult books that have become international bestsellers. She has been writing since 1950, and her best-known characters are Ramona and Beezus Quimby, Ralph S. Mouse, Henry Higgins, and his dog Ribsy. Beverly Cleary has won many awards. These are some of her books. These are some of the awards that she has won. Dorothy Canfield Fisher Children's Book Award in 1958. She received this honor again in 1966 and 1985. The next award she would receive would be in 1975, which was the Children's Literature Legacy Award. In 1978, she received the Newbery Medal, and again in 1982 and 1984. She would receive the Regina Medal in 1980 and in 1981 and earn the National Book Award for Children's Books. Beverly Cleary's style of writing is humorous, lively, and entirely unique. Her goal of writing is to touch on subjects that regular children can understand. The whole reason behind her writing books was to inspire kids to read, so she created books that would interest them. The 5 books I read were Ramona the Pest, Henry Higgins, Socks, The Hullabaloo ABC, and Otis Spofford. All of these books have characters that children can relate to with subjects that the majority have been through. Their silly antics are amusing, lighthearted, and make it easy for children to want to read. So this is Ramona the Pest. It's about a little girl who finally gets to go to kindergarten, but finds that it's a little rougher than she expected. Ramona has a hard time sitting still and tends to cause a little bit of trouble, although she doesn't mean to. She's very inquisitive about everything and has a hard time sitting still, so it causes some problems. This is Beverly Cleary's first book, Henry Higgins. She wrote it in 1950. In this book, the main character, Henry, leads somewhat of a boring life. He's just an ordinary boy in an ordinary town doing ordinary things until he rescues a stray dog. Henry names his dog Ribsy because when he finds him, he's so malnourished that his ribs are showing. Him and his new dog find excitement in all kinds of different adventures. They sneak onto the bus one time. Uh, Dogs are not allowed on the bus, and Henry decides to stick the dog into a bag that's big enough and carries him onto the bus. And Ribsy quickly gets out and causes a ruckus. It's super cute. So this book explains what it's like to care for someone besides yourself and how sometimes we have to put them first. It talks about how he saves money, but he's always spending it on the things that Ribsy needs instead of the things that Henry would like. The next book is Socks. It was written in 1973. Socks is a tabby cat who belongs to a young couple. The book is it's from the perspective of the cat. Socks has a hard time with understanding why the family dynamics have changed when the new baby comes into the picture. The young couple are worried Socks might hurt the baby, so they're very cautious. They tend to not spend enough time with Socks, and Socks starts to feel really left out, so he goes and causes a little bit of a ruckus throughout the neighborhood. Um, I guess the climax is kind of when he gets in a fight with another cat and he comes home injured, and the young couple realize that they've been kind of neglecting Socks, so they decide to change that and bring him back in. Um, they quickly realize that Socks just wants to be a part of, and he snuggles up to the baby, and everything is good. um, the Hullabaloo ABC book was the next book I read, and that was written in 1960. This book isn't like the other ones I read. It's more of a silly way to learn the alphabet. I wanted to read this one because the other ones kind of had the same theme of the main character kind of causing a ruckus even though they don't mean to. There's always like an underlining issue, and this one is just a fun way to learn your ABCs. I put the donkey on there because it talks about D for donkey, and I love donkeys, and I thought that was cute. Um, let's see. The last book I read was written in 1953, and it's called Otis Spofford. This book, Otis is a latchkey kid because his mother is busy teaching. He again gets into all kinds of trouble, and all he's just trying to entertain himself. He's not a bad kid. He just has a hard time focusing, and I think he wants a little bit of attention, and he doesn't know how to get positive attention, so he becomes a class clown and starts picking on this girl Ellen, and it's just a bunch of his antics. I put those glow in the dark shoes on there because it talks about how he had shoelaces that were glow in the dark, and I thought they were super cool. So after reading these five books, it's clear to me that Beverly Cleary has a specific style in which she writes. Her characters are always looking for excitement of some sort. They tend to be fiction books about children with real life obstacles. Her goal, like I said before, was to make books fun and easy for anyone to read. I believe that she did this because she struggled up until third grade learning how to read. She always loved to read, but she just had a hard time with it. Once she hit third grade and caught up with her peers, she accelerated in reading and decided that she wanted to be a librarian. So she ended up going to Berkeley and she became a librarian. And then in 1942, she began working as a full time writer for children's novels. I would suggest these books if students wanted, a fun, lighthearted escape from reality with a little bit of excitement and maybe some life issues that the majority of us can relate to. I highly recommend this writer. I love this author. And I'm super glad that I got to read these books.